best moment of my life, that moment, up till that point, was also the most humiliating moment of my life for myself. Because I was being humiliated to myself. Like, it was so humbling to walk out and then be like, you had it all wrong. And so
Most motivational speakers will tell you that you can be anything you want if you just put your mind to it. But this British Indian monk might have taken things a bit too seriously. In this video, we'll be getting to meet Jay Shetty, a former monk and motivational speaker that may be overselling his wisdom and insight. With millions of fans around the world, and some of them in very high places, it's time to see how Jay Shetty sold a fake identity. Before Jay Shetty was the lifestyle and spiritual guru that he's known as today, he was living quite the normal life. Born and raised in London with a British Indian family, he grew up with Hinduism as the focal point of his values. But of course, Jay Shetty's life was more than just his religion. Jay Shetty attended Cass Business School, where he would get a first degree in management. He was set on becoming just another cog in the machine, climbing the corporate ladder, and eventually retiring at the lap of middle-class luxury. But something changed in him. This change would come in the form of a lecture given by a monk by the name of Gauranga Das. This was the pivotal moment for Jay Shetty. Moved by Gauranga Das's kindness and spiritual teachings, he realized that there was more to life than the corporate ladder. After graduation, he would throw all of his plans away and live as a penniless monk in Mumbai under the mentorship of Gauranga Das. This pilgrimage of his lasted a good 3 years before he was told by his mentor that his talents as a charming personality could be used to spread their beliefs instead. He had the knowledge and the skills to spread monk wisdom throughout the world, and so he left his life as a monk and transformed into a preacher, or as we call them in this day and age, a self-help influencer. Jay Shetty was able to build a social media influencer empire that was huge enough for A-listers to care about. One of Jay Shetty's biggest claims to fame would be his works as an author. Some of his best-selling books include Think Like a Monk and 8 Rules of Love, the former being the book that broke him into the world of relevance. This same book would catch the attention of some of Hollywood's biggest stars, including Jennifer Lopez, who was so moved by Jay Shetty's life and principles that she was convinced that he was the man who would officiate her wedding with longtime lover Ben Affleck in August 2022. This shot of stardom propelled Jay Shetty on the red carpet with other stars. His influence was able to wrangle stars like Kim Kardashian, Kobe Bryant, and even Joe Biden and Michelle Obama on his podcast, entitled On Purpose. With numerous successful projects to his name, and with an acting debut in Jennifer Lopez's new movie, his rags to stardom story was like a fairy tale. And by that, we mean it might be complete and utter fiction. Jay Shetty was effectively on a victory lap. He had a name for himself, and he was now rubbing shoulders with numerous A-list celebs and politicians. So it was about time someone took a closer look at him, and that someone was John McDermott. In a recent article published in The Guardian entitled Uncovering the Higher Truth of Jay Shetty, John McDermott would detail his investigations into the phenomenon that is Jay Shetty. John McDermott started looking into Jay Shetty's life after a peculiar run-in during one of Jay's shows, and what he found was less than authentic. Multiple allegations of Jay Shetty stealing other people's content and labeling them as his own. This made John look even deeper, interviewing Jay Shetty's acquaintances, co-workers, and even members of the Hare Krishna movement. Currently, this article by John is the subject of a legal complaint filed by Jay Shetty's party. One of the things that made Jay Shetty such an influential person in the first place was because of the life he lived. Rags to riches, as claimed by him. But what if this life wasn't true in the first place? There's no doubt that Jay Shetty did live as a monk, but the level of dedication he had might be a bit of an exaggeration. Many conflicting reports suggest that Jay Shetty's 3-year stint as a monk in Mumbai might not be all that true. One such report comes from Jay Shetty's former college sweetheart, saying that the length and frequency of his visits to Mumbai were exaggerated to say the least. Instead of month-long pilgrimages throughout the years, she can only recall a single trip that lasted just 2 weeks. Adding to this, many monks at the Watford Monastery in London would also see Shetty quite often during the 3 years he was supposed to be in Mumbai, India.
Me? Just hanging around.
His disconnect from society during this pilgrimage was exaggerated as well, with him being known to film YouTube videos during the time he was supposedly detached from the material world. Even his enlightenment has come into question. One of Jay Shetty's claims regarding his spiritual awakening was that it came in the form of a lecture by Indian monk Gauranga Das. While it's true that Gauranga Das did hold a lecture at his college, the dates just never add up properly. Conflicting dates and his age at the time of his attendance keep changing, and it seems that Jay himself is never quite sure of his own awakening. Another complaint that many outside observers have for Jay Shetty is his blatant theft of copyrighted works. As revealed by Nicole Arbour in 2019, most of the inspirational life quotes and insights that he was famous for were actually stolen from other small content creators in the niche. It was also revealed that once people noticed and complained, they reached out to Jay Shetty to request changes, requests that fell on deaf ears, as Jay Shetty continued to post. But of course, people have been waxing philosophies for hundreds of years now. With the millions of posts on the internet, you're bound to copy someone else's work at some point, right? Well, in Jay Shetty's case, he managed to copy some works word for word. Kind of a smoking gun there, don't you think? And because the call out by multiple content creators was spot on, Jay Shetty immediately coordinated with his team to delete over 100 posts on his social media, an act that might be too little too late at this point. But sadly, this isn't where the lies end. Nowadays, it seems like anyone and everyone can start a school, and if Kanye West can start his Donda Academy, then Jay Shetty can start his own Jay Shetty Certification School. Founded in 2020 by none other than Jay Shetty himself, the school has since taught over 2 million students with the promise of providing certificates that would count as academic units in other colleges. Well, that was another lie. The Jay Shetty Certification School heals your spiritual turmoil by ridding you of your material possessions, aka taking your money. A term at the Jay Shetty School charges you a dizzying $7,400 per term. The school was made in partnership with OTHM, a private exam certification company in the UK, which certifies that the Jay Shetty School does indeed have the credentials to issue certifications of that level. This is something that they proudly state in many of their brochures, boasting that their courses are Ofqual approved. Well, technically approved. Ofqual officials have spoken up about the blatant false advertising, claiming that Jay Shetty's school isn't Ofqual certified. Jay Shetty's party has since countered these accusations by stating that OTHM is certified, and since OTHM is certified by Ofqual, then they are too. By extension, mental yoga just to come out on top, I guess. While Jay Shetty might be a spiritualist with all the best intentions at heart, his lies are clearly made to earn him and his party more money. So the next time you hear of Jay Shetty and any of his other products, it's best to take it with a grain of salt. Hopefully this time it won't be stolen. Although Jay Shetty did undeniably live his life as a monk, the values and lifestyle that he claims to hold so dearly may not be as solid as he claims. After all, a capitalist mindset and misleading advertisement are the farthest things that come to mind when it comes to being a monk.